so much for joining this evening's session. So the session is titled Online Learning for the SQE, How to Make It Work for You. So obviously that's been the premise of what we run through this evening. So just some introductions first of all then. So I am Nicola Gorge. I'm the Student Recruitment Manager here at the College of Legal Practice. I oversee the journey of sort of prospective students, from people who are initially potentially interested in our courses and then through to hopefully enrolling onto our programmes. And I'm joined by a number of other colleagues and guests this evening as well. So if I can get you all just to briefly introduce yourself as well, please. So Lara, want to go first?
Of course, thank you. So hi everyone, my name is Lara Faulkner and I work as a student recruitment officer here at the College of Legal Practice. I deal a lot with with like prospective students' questions, inquiries, and support students sort of before they submit an application through to the college. Thank you, and I'll pass you on to Steve, who's one of our module leaders.
Thanks, Laura. Hi, as you can see, I'm Steve Johnson. I'm the module leader for the SQE1 preparation course. So the course that helps you and takes you up to the moment where you take the SQE1 assessment. For our purposes, we call it SLK, which is short for the Solicitor's Legal Knowledge.
Thanks, Steve. And then we've got Lilia as well.
Yeah, hi, my name is Lilia. I'm a student at the college, and basically I was studying and prepping for the SQE1 last year, and I successfully passed my exam, and now I'm in the middle of the preparation for the SQE2 examination. I'm also a scholarship holder at the college.
Lovely. Thanks, Lilia. So we'll be hearing from all of us this evening. So, just another way that we can assist you, as well as the information that we'll be providing you this evening. We've also got a guide called Secrets to SQE Success Guide. There's a QR code here that you can scan if you're able to, wanting to as well, to access that guide. So this has been put together with lots of top tips from our students who have studied with us and then gone on to pass the SQE and to be successfully qualify as a solicitor, as well as from our academic team as well. And I will send this out actually in the email to you tomorrow as well, so you can access it that way. So just going to mention what we're going to be covering this evening then. So first of all, I'll be giving you a quick overview of who we are here at the College of Legal Practice. And so I sort of recognise that people will be joining this evening from quite different places on their journey of understanding the SQE and becoming a solicitor. So we'll briefly be going over what the actual SQE route to qualifying is, what the exams involve, and then obviously ultimately how to then be able to prepare for them through a course such as what we offer, because obviously that will make much more sense understanding what the exams are to then what the delivery is and how you can study for it. We'll be talking to Lilia to understand what her experience has been in terms of studying for the SQE1, taking and passing the exam, and then going on to SQE2, all alongside working as well. And of course, we'll allow lots of time for your questions. So just to give you an overview then, for those of you who don't yet know who we are a fully online legal training provider. We specialise in SQE preparation, and our parent company, the College of Law, are leaders in legal education in Australia. So we're very experienced in delivering digital learning. We're all about accessible and affordable legal education. That's a real focus on ours to be able to maintain our low course fees. Traditionally, obviously, law and the legal profession is known as being a profession with many barriers to entry, many of which is around the cost. So we do our bit to eliminate that by trying to keep our costs as affordable as possible. We also like to facilitate access through our personal and targeted individual support, where students get access to high levels of one-to-one tutor supervision, and all whilst fostering an inclusive learning environment, allowing for reasonable adjustments for those that need it, giving everyone an opportunity to get the most out of their learning. You'll see that there's a number of different logos there on the screen. So some of these are for law firms or firms with legal departments that we work with, offering SQE training for their employees. But there's also a number of universities on there, and that's because we also offer our SQE programs and preparation courses through some LLMs that are offered at different universities as well. So they've actually asked us to be able to deliver our programs to their students as well. So let's go on then to what is the SQE? So the SQE, what does it stand for? It's Solicitors Qualifying Exams, and this is now the route to qualify as a solicitor in England and Wales, rather than the previous LPC route that was in place. So this is central exams. So everyone has to book onto and take the exams through the SRA. It's all very regulated that way, which is quite different to how the LPC had been set up. This is also to assess the standard of being a day one qualified solicitor. Again, a bit different to the previous LPC route, which was aimed at being a day one trainee. So you'll see the sort of the jigsaw puzzle there. There's four sort of components, if you like, to what makes up being able to be signed off to be a qualified solicitor then. So first of all, you would need to have a degree or an equivalent level 6 qualification. Now, interestingly, it doesn't actually say a law degree. However, as you'll probably pick up from hopefully the session this evening, without having that legal background, it is very, very difficult to be able to then go on to study for the SQE. So if you are in that situation, you might want to look at something like our law conversion course, the GDL, as a sort of stepping stone, first of all, to then go on to the SQE. So we've got then listed the SQE 1 and 2 exams that you'll need to pass, and we'll be covering a bit about those in a moment. You'll also need to gain 2 years of qualifying work experience. Now, there is quite a bit of flexibility in this as to when you gain that work experience, and we'll demonstrate that on one of our slides later on as well, and how you might want to fit that in with your SQE studies. And then the final thing, which is sort of quite standard and was there before, is meeting the suitability requirements that the SRA set out as well. So I am going to hand you over to Steve now, if I may, and Steve will be running through a bit about what the actual SQE exams involve, and then going on to how to study for them.
Thanks very much, Nicola. I suppose the first thing to say about the SQE1 assessment is that there are 2 assessment points. So you can either take the assessments in July or you can take them in January. And insofar as the papers are concerned, there are 2 papers. You would take one paper 1 week, and then the following week you would take the second paper. And those papers are in fact 5 hours long, or actually I think just a little bit more than 5 hours. Lilia will probably be able to be more specific because she's already sat here. But in those 5 hours, you're effectively presented with an assessment that requires you to answer 180 multiple choice questions. I say multiple choice questions, but actually the more specific term would be single best answer questions, because they're not simply knowledge questions. You know, if I were to ask you a knowledge question now, a simple MCQ, and said, who is the module leader for the SLK? Is it A, Nicola, B, Lilia, C, Lara, or D, B? Then you know it was me, simple knowledge question. But the single best answer question requires you to be analytical and to apply your knowledge of core legal principles to what are described as realistic factual scenarios, the sort of scenarios that you may very well come across as a practicing solicitor. So the whole ethos, if you like, of the SQE1 assessment is effectively assessing your ability to think like a lawyer. And that's what we at the College of Legal Practice will be helping you with. And as I said, there are two papers in relation to there are 13 areas of law in total that you need to know in order to be able to sit these assessments. And those areas are split up. So in other words, FLK1 may have 6 or 7 of those subjects, and FLK2 has the remainder. So that's essentially the idea. You sit those assessments at a test centre location. They're all over the place. Basically, they're called Pearson VUE test centres. You probably know them better as centres where you might have done your driving test. And those assessments are difficult. There's no getting away from it. I'm sure Lilia will confirm that. They are very difficult assessments. Technically, it is possible to do those assessments without without having studied law, as Nicola was explaining earlier, and without having any involvement in any sort of preparation course and just doing it all yourself and turning up. I would have thought that the prospects probably of passing those assessments in those circumstances are virtually nil. And which is one of the reasons why obviously we offer this course. They're also expensive. And for 2025, 2026, you can see how much they are on the slide. Why is that a relevant feature? Well, it's a relevant feature because if you're going to spend so much money to take that assessment, you want to be as best prepared as you possibly can be. And so as a large part of the preparation that you will come across in relation to our course, we will be helping you very much with this concept of the single best answer question. You'll see that technically there is 1 minute and 40 seconds to answer these questions. So one of the things we'll help you with is time management and how to sift through the various options that you are given in relation to these questions. You'll see on the slide 5 options, most of which, if not all of which, sound perfectly possible. They're all deemed to be plausible answers. So that's in a nutshell, that's what the SQE1 is all about. So, yes, the SQE2. Well, the SQE2 is the second part of the SQE assessments, and this is all about you demonstrating to the SRA that you have the appropriate skills that are necessary to be a lawyer, to be a lawyer assessed at a day one lawyer, as Nicola has already indicated. And so, insofar as the assessment is concerned, the good news is that you don't need to know as many practice areas because the practice areas are limited to 6. But the bad news is that there are 16 assessments where the skills that you need are assessed both in relation to oral assessments and in relation to written assessments. So if you look to the right-hand side, for example, of the slide, you'll see the skills that you need to have, the ability to be able to draft legal documents, the ability to be able to write legal documents, letters, for example, to clients or to fellow solicitors or whatever it may be. And you'll see there that second one down on the right-hand side, there's a reference to case and matter analysis. And that's a specific skill that is assessed as an assessment called case and matter analysis. But what is important for you to know is that actually case analysis is what runs through every skill that you need to demonstrate in relation to the SQE2. So the ability, case analysis is absolutely vital because that's what you do as a lawyer. You read a set of papers, you identify and isolate what is relevant and what is irrelevant insofar as the facts are concerned. You identify the legal issues and you analyze what the difficulties are and what the solutions might be. So case analysis runs through all of those skills. And the SQE2 is the oral assessments. You've got a choice of 4 places to go to in order to do your advocacy or in order to interview the client, which is the other oral skill. And it's different because there are 4 assessment dates rather than just 2. And you'll also see that it's even more expensive than the SQE1. So again, it's vital.
Is dispute resolution the same as civil litigation?
Yes.
That has asked, yes.
Yes, it is.
And the written assessments, yes, they are. They're all electronic, but still in a test centre, aren't they?
Yes, that's right. That's the way it works. It has to all be done at a test centre.
Okay. So, moving on then to our preparation courses then, Steve.
Yes. So it won't surprise you, given what I've said, that it's absolutely vital that you are as well prepared as you possibly can be. And so, insofar as the course that we offer is concerned, we help you in a variety of ways. I suppose the first thing to say is that you'll appreciate that the course that we offer is all about independent learning because it's an online course. You'll be at home or at work or wherever it is that you choose to be, and then we'll engage with all of the materials and the activities that we have to offer. So first and foremost, the onus is very much on you to put the work in, to be engaged with everything that is offered, and to use the materials in the best way that you possibly can. But the good news is that we help you and support you and guide you through all of that time. So, as the slide says, yes, it's online learning. Yes, it's independent learning, but you are guided in a variety of ways. Actually, I'm not sure whether it's actually there on the slide, so I'll just mention it. One of the key ways in which we guide you is that we actually provide for you a study plan. But that study plan we call a calendar. And into the calendar, we are on various days of the week, depending upon which course you are, it will vary in terms of number, but we make suggestions as to which topic areas from which practice areas you should be studying that week. So in other words, we provide a study plan which we suggest to you, strongly urge you to follow so that you keep up with all of the preparation that you need to do so that you've done it all by the time you come to the assessment. And insofar as that is concerned, we reference what we call sub units. And those subunits are taken from the 13 practice areas or the 13 units that you need to study. And then they're broken down into, as I say, into individual topic areas. And insofar as they are concerned, across the course generally, therefore, you will come across, in support of the course as a whole, somewhere in the region of 1,900 videos or podcasts or recorded assets which you can watch and listen to when you begin your preparation. There are a whole series of activities that you would look at as well. And then we provide you with multiple choice or single best answer questions at the end of each subunit. So essentially, in terms of the preparation that you would be doing, you would effectively begin by looking at a video or listening to a podcast. Then we would suggest to you that you read a short part of the manual for that relevant topic area. Then you would go on to deal with activities, drag and drop, and flashcards and that sort of thing. And then you would finish up by looking at multiple choice questions, 10 in total. And insofar as I've just referred to the manuals, insofar as the manuals are concerned, there are digital versions, but also there are hard copy versions available to you as well. So if you want, you can have all of those manuals in hard copy form sent to you at home or work or wherever you want to receive them. So that's a lot of work, as you probably realised, which is where we come in terms of support. So we also offer to you a number of seminars that deal with the legal content and the concepts in relation to all of these practice areas. And the purpose of those sessions is more to help you understand what it is that you had already studied by the time that you arrive at the seminar. So it's very much geared towards trying to help to demystify some of the more complex topic areas that you might come across in relation to a practice area, and help you to understand those and help you then with the practical application of those to the single best answer question. There are also course information sessions and recorded updates. They come from me as the module leader, and so I run a series of course information sessions which will either be presentations or there'll be drop-ins, at least 10 in number across there. And the idea would be that, for example, I will help you in terms of orientation and in relation to the course itself. Sometimes I'll help you with sessions on study skills or on progress tests, on how to use those in order to help. So there's a whole variety of areas that are covered. And then we have a personal supervisor system. And each of you will have allocated to you a personal supervisor who will support you in a very practical way right across the course. And you'll have the opportunity, we offer 10 personal supervisor sessions in total, some of which are group, some of which are individual, and you can go and speak to the supervisor and in relation to any of the difficulties that you might be having, who will be able to give you some very practical advice that hopefully will assist. And if it's out of their remit, they'll be able to refer you to where you would need to go. And that's a very, very important part of the preparation, because it means you're not alone. You have somebody there to support you. And then shortly before, a couple of months, 2 or 3 months before the SQE assessment, we then sit down with you and we discuss your readiness to take the SQE, to take the SQE. And we'll look at the evidence, we'll look at your results across the board, we'll discuss any other relevant information, and we'll give you our honest opinion as to whether or not you're ready to take the assessment. And in order to help you with that, and in order to be able to assess that, you need to be able to see yourself. And for that reason, we give you something in the region of 2,300 plus SQE1 style multiple choice questions to attempt across the course. And also, when we finished all of that, we also provide you with some practice SQE practice papers that we've devised that will assist you. So that's the way that the SQE1 works. Just looking across the slide for a moment, it's very much at the moment in the distance as far as you're concerned, but you'll see that the guided online learning continues, but the focus very much is helping you to develop your skills and to hone your skills across the 6 practice areas, both the legal and the oral skills. Personal supervision remains, readiness reviews remains, and there are plenty of practice papers for you as well.
Brilliant.
Thank
Thanks, Steve. So Steve, some top tips then. So we've talked about specifically, we're looking at advising on how to make online learning work for you. And when obviously you've explained brilliantly all the things that are involved in our preparation course, which there is so much. But in particular, then you put together some tips, didn't you, on how to really get the most out of the course?
Yeah, yes, I did, and I rather suspect that Lilia will have even better tips than the ones that I'm offering. But yeah, if I were to advise you of anything at all, it would be if you come onto our course, which has been devised, designed, and written with a great deal of care by subject matter experts and lawyers who know what they're talking about. It would be to have confidence in the materials that you will receive from us and to fully engage with those materials, knowing that what we have done is to provide you with everything that you need. And I say that because if you go onto the SRA website and start to do your own research, one of the messages that you will see that they are very consistent about is that the purpose of the SQE assessments is to test your ability to apply core legal principles to realistic factual scenarios. So in other words, what they're saying to you is we're not asking you to think like students. We're not asking you to be esoteric and overly academic. What we want you to do is to think like a lawyer. And that's what we're testing. We're testing to see whether or not you think like a lawyer. And funnily enough, I was at an SRA training session this afternoon, and that message was given to us very loudly and clearly. Just looking on the right-hand side, be prepared for the seminars. I've already touched upon that. They're not first-time delivery seminars. They are there to help you to understand that which is difficult. So in order to get the most out of them, you need to have studied the topic areas that you were meant to have studied up to the point of that seminar. And then, of course, you have the opportunity to ask the supervisor questions that you might have of them. Try not to fall behind. I think I've already touched on that. It's very easy to fall behind. If you are on a 13-week course, for example, you will be, in order to keep up, you'll be needing to do something, look at something like 12 subunits a week and follow that route, that path that I described earlier. And of course, it follows from that that if it only takes a week or so, and then you're very behind, and you're having to try and catch up while still maintaining your studies in relation to the rest of the course. So yes, my really strong advice to you is you don't have to. It's not mandatory. We can't force you, but take our advice and follow the schedule, which means that you're going to need time, which means that you're going to have to plan ahead, which means that you're going to have to drop some of your commitments that you might otherwise have. It might mean that some of the things that are expected of you from family or friends perhaps need to be put onto the back burner, and so you need just to have a conversation, explain what it is that you're doing, that it's relatively short term, and ask for their support. I would advise you to do that as well. Don't be afraid to ask questions. That's absolutely key. I'm sure Lilia would agree with that. And you can ask questions, as I say, at the seminars, but we also have a forum, an inquiries inbox, where you can literally, you're not by yourself. So if there's anything you don't understand, whether it's a part of the manual, whether it's a question and why the answer is X rather than Y, when you thought the answer was Y, don't be afraid to send that question in. And I ensure that the question is then distributed to a relevant supervisor in that particular field, and they will come back and answer it. And also, the final top tip is we offer you progress tests, which are called, I suppose you might call them mock exams or formatives. And there are 10 in total, leading up to our own summative assessment, which takes place the month before the SQE. And what we do is that we give you the opportunity to go in and sit one of these tests, which will be varied, so that it won't just be one subject area. There'll be lots of subject areas that you'll be asked about, and you'll be timed as well. And it starts small and it gets big. So what we're trying to do is to help you to develop an understanding of the SLK question, to help you with your stamina in relation to this type of assessment, and to help you with your time management as well, because they are timed and you can be cut out. But the good news is that they remain available for you, and so you can go in and attempt them as many times as you like, which makes them very, very good revision aids as well. Thanks, Nicola.
Brilliant. Thanks, Steve. Lovely. So let's introduce Lilia then. Lilia, thank you ever so much for joining us this evening. What I might just try and do is stop sharing the presentation for a moment so that we can have a chat properly. So yeah, as I say, thank you for joining us. And as Steve has mentioned, I'm sure there's lots of great insights that you'll have to assist anyone who's thinking about studying for the SQE. So are you okay to just kind of introduce yourself a little bit more, then explain where you are currently in your SQE journey?
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much. First of all, Steve covered many very important questions that I'm also going to raise during my speech. So yeah, but I'm Lily and I'm working with the refugees, with specifically Ukrainians who are coming under the Homes for Ukraine scheme and now on the Ukrainian Permission Extension scheme, with the British people who are accommodating them. So I'm deeply involved in work, and it's a very demanding position as well. So it's a proper full-time job, which which is very demanding, as I say. In terms of my legal education, I am educated to the master's degree level, and I have two master degrees, but they are international. So basically, they're non-UK, which adds to the challenge, but I will cover it slightly later. So when I came to the UK, I realized that one of the very kind of important decisions for me is to take the SQE to become a solicitor. So then I started to research what was an offer at the time, and College of Legal Practice definitely stood out. And I started to research. Everything was very user friendly, and then I came across the scholarship as well because, like as we discussed, the price for becoming a solicitor as well is a very high, I would say. So I found an opportunity to apply for the scholarship with the college, and I received the scholarship. So basically, last year I was preparing for the SQE one, and I successfully passed it in July. And now I'm preparing for the SQE two, which I'm also going to take in July, but July 2026.
Brilliant, thank you. So you studied on the 40-week SQE one prep, didn't you, whilst you're working full time? So what made you choose go for that option?
So first of all, I had a chat with the college, and as many people, I wanted to be very, very quick in my preparation because I want to become solicitor here and now. But the college was very open and honest with me, and they were explaining that, look, Lilia, you have so many commitments, like a full-time job, some other extracurriculums and stuff like this. So really, you need to be kind of realistic in terms of the course that you're kind of signing in for. And then I realized that, yes, actually, probably 40 weeks would be the best choice because full-time job leaves you a very limited amount of time to actually study. And also, if people have the childcare commitment or sport or anything else, really 40 weeks is a very good program. And what is very helpful with this specific program is that it is very clear. It is clear from the day one. You open the calendar, you see what you need to do for the day. So it's very limited. You watch the video, you read the subunits, you do the tasks that are allocated. You have 10 questions a day, and this is all you need, I can definitely say. So you set up the specific timers and kind of stick to them. So don't create the mindset of like after work, I'm going to study the whole time because it's not going to work. Allocate to 2 hours and stick to it. And this is going to be way more productive rather than you spending all the relevant, all the free time because you will not study effectively. But yeah, the program itself is very, very clear. You know what you need to do from the very beginning.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. And obviously, in terms of your kind of around 2 hours of an evening, that is because you were on the 40-week one as well.
Yeah.
We'll cover we'll explain a little bit about our other speeds of courses later on. But just if anyone's thinking, great, I can study a really fast, really quick course and do 2 hours a night, it will be more than that. But yeah, obviously this is how it fitted in well with you on the 40-week.
Yeah, but also I may add, because if people are coming with the background of legal education, which was tailored to the UK, so a strong legal knowledge of the UK system, they may potentially consider the quick courses. But for me, as an international student, it would not make much sense, really.
Yeah.
Because what else? Like SQ1 is not only about the legal knowledge, it's about the endurance, it's about your resilience. You're going to be very, very stressed. And if you put yourself under the pressure of timing, if it's not necessary, it will not play a good game with you, really.
Brilliant, thank you. And what did you get the most value from with the kind of the online format of the course and the resources? I know we sort of chatted beforehand. You said you wasn't often able to join the live sessions.
Yeah, so well, first of all, I never considered the offline format because it's very hard already when you have so many commitments to commute somewhere. And for me, it's the perfect option, actually, the online course, because you can study in any place because the materials are always with you. You're always connected. You don't even need the internet because all the materials, as Steve mentioned, there are the hard copies, but also you can access them electronically. You can pre-download them. You can download all the sessions. So if you're on the plane, that's what I like in the latest stages of my preparation. I was on the plane and I was listening to the videos, using it as a podcast instead of listening something on the YouTube. So for me, it worked perfectly because I didn't need to spend any time on commute. I can access all the materials online. And also those sessions, even though I didn't manage, unfortunately, to attend due to the full-time job, all of the sessions were recorded. So when I was in the revision after the course, I was listening to them during sport, during walks, just as the dedicated task. And it was brilliant. It was very useful because all the topics, which were very challenging, they were covered there. And people would have a discussion at the end of the session as well. So they were raising the relevant questions, which were very helpful as well.
Brilliant. And then sort of looking back, what do you think made the biggest difference to help you to pass first time? Was it all that you know, the sort of extra work that you were doing and going back over things, or something else?
So I would mention two things in combination. First of all, my legal background, even though it was international law, but as we study law, a lot of principles are relevant still to the UK system. So I had a very solid foundation, but the brilliant preparation materials. So as it was rightly mentioned on the slides, College of Legal Practice provided me with everything that I needed. So I didn't spend any time on extra research. Of course, I would go and here and there just to kind of research on the specific concept, but everything that was in the manual, in the test, in the activities, I used it and stick to it because I didn't have much time for kind of external resources. So there's in combination two things, the perfect preparation materials and my legal background as well, that helped me to pass.
Great. And then let's just touch about on sort of SQE2 now. So obviously you've gone on to that. How have you found that really getting into the SQE2 program?
So, well, sticking to the online format, it brings me a lot of flexibility still, but what I can definitely say, it's more demanding. So I had a very, like, I even more enhanced my legal foundation. So now I have the relevant legal knowledge for the UK system. But the SQE2 tests the skills, but also like students need not to forget that SQE2 is not only about skills, it's about the legal knowledge as well, because with all the best skills of advocacy, you will not be able to pass if you don't know the relevant legal principles that you need to apply to this advocacy. So SQE1 preparation with the college put me in a very strong position because now I have this knowledge, and the only thing that I need to do is to develop my public speech and like writing skills, and that's it. So yeah, basically, I'm still sticking to the same program. I'm provided with the materials. I'm provided with a specific tasks. The only thing, it's more demanding because you're not only kind of going through all the legal knowledge, you're also doing the specific tasks which take time. So it's even more demanding, I would say.
Great. Okay, so any further sort of top tips that you think you would really like to pass on?
Yeah, so for me, it's a very important thing to pass this message on to every student who is going to undertake this path. It's not all about locking in and just staying isolated and like studying all the time. You need to see family, you need to see friends, you need to spend the time in fresh air, you need to sleep properly. Like don't isolate yourself because it's not going to work really. You need to reduce the stress levels rather than to increase them. Also, don't skip the complex concepts. If you're reading after work and you feel like I'm exhausted, I don't really understand it, I just will like park it for some time and I will return to it. You never will. So if you see the concept that you don't understand, just go spend the extra 5 minutes, use whatever resource you need, study it. And also if your native language is not English, maybe try it in your own language because it can help you potentially to understand it better. And when you're in the examination, never spend too much time on one question. You have a limited time, 1 minute, 40 seconds. If you don't know it, unfortunately, you don't know it. And be mentally ready to spend a lot of time in examination. And at some point, you will experience the fatigue probably. So bring snacks, water. You can't use it during the examination itself, but in the breaks, maybe. Also go through the MCQs and drills. They're very helpful. And don't be fooled by the question of must and may. Always pay attention to the wording of the question because as Steve rightly pointed, it's a single best answer in the given example. So yeah, read carefully.
That's brilliant, Lilia. Thank you so much. I know we've had some questions come through, but what we're going to do is just quickly touch upon sort of the facts and data about our courses, sort of dates and costs, and then we'll go through the questions that you've put through, and I'm sure there'll be more things to ask to Lilia. Right, Lara, can you give a quick overview, if you don't mind, then about the different course options?
Yeah, of course. So like Nicola previously mentioned, if you haven't previously studied law, then we do recommend for you to do the graduate diploma in law first. So the price of that program is £3,950. All the programs which we offer, they do come as full-time or part-time. So for the GDL, we offer the full-time 20 weeks. So on average, your hours of study per week will be between 30 to 35 hours. Or we do also offer the part-time one, which is 40 weeks, and your hours of study per week will be between 15 to 20 hours. The start date for the GDL, we have a few start dates. So we have January, and then we also have August/September. So we have already mentioned the SQE1 prep courses. So for the SQE1, which is the Solicitor's Legal Knowledge, the price of this course is £2,200, and we offer this as the full-time 13-week course, or we offer two part-time courses. So you can do the 20-week one, which is 15 to 20 hours of study per week, or the 40 weeks one, which is 8 to 10 hours of study per week. Now, usually the amount of hours per week will vary, and that is subjective on the person, depending on obviously how quickly you pick up the material. And obviously, if you already have a good understanding of the law in England and Wales, then you might be able to pick up the material a lot easier. The start dates which we have for the SQE1 prep course. So we have a February/March intake, and then also an August/September. For the SQE2 prep course, which is the Solicitor's Legal Skills, the price of this course is £2,700. So this is the course which Lilia is on now and studying for. So we offer the 10 weeks course, which is the full time, or once again, the two part-time courses, so the 20 weeks or the 40 weeks. And we do have multiple start dates for the SQE2 prep course. And lastly, the LLM in legal practice. Now, this is our master's qualification, and this does include the SQE prep courses as well. So that will include SQE1 and also SQE2. And the price of this course is £7,245. The 1 year is the full-time program, and the 2 year is the part-time program. And we have various start dates for the LLM. So we have February/March, and then August/September as well.
Thanks, Lara. Um, just move on. And then this slide just briefly explains about how you might gain your qualifying work experience.
Yep, perfect. So up on the screen, it shows you a couple of different pathways. So it is quite flexible how you gain the qualifying work experience. So if you directly know that you want to become a solicitor and you want to obviously get your qualifications done and out the way, then you could study the full-time SQE1 prep course, take the SQE1 exam, and then go on to do the SQE2 preparation course with us, and then obviously take the SQE2 exam, and then gain your qualifying work experience at the end. Or it would be the same if you decide to study the full-time LLM in legal practice, and obviously gain your qualifying work experience at the end of the course once you've completed your preparation courses or the LLM, and obviously gained and passed your SQE1 exam and SQE2 exam. If you're looking at also studying and working, then you can gain your qualifying work experience and take our courses part-time. So you could do the SQ1 prep course part-time, then obviously take the SQ1 exam, and then go on to the SQE2, and then obviously take the SQE2 exam at the end, and also gain your qualifying work experience alongside of this. Or if you're not too sure whether like the solicitor route is for you, then you could obviously gain your qualifying work experience first and start that, and then obviously start the SQ1 prep course part-time, and then obviously take your exam, and then do the SQE2, and then obviously take your exam as well. Or if you decide to study the part-time LLM in legal practice, and obviously start doing your qualifying work experience. So there is a lot of flexibility around it, and obviously it just depends on which one fits around your own schedule.
Thanks, Lara. Now I did have a slide here with some upcoming start dates, but if it's okay, Lara, I think I'll send that out in the email tomorrow because I know we're running short of time and I know there's lots of questions that came through. But do you want to just mention about how you could fund the LLM as well?
Yeah, of course. So the LLM is available, and the price of that course is £7,245, and that is also you're able to get a master's loan on that from Student Finance England. So that will cover the cost of the price of the LLM in legal practice, which we offer, and it will also pay for the SQE exams as well. Because for the exams, the SQE1 and the SQE2 is booked through the SRA website. So it's a separate fee which you have to pay directly to the SRA, and all the exams are booked through them.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Lara. Right then, let me go through and have a look at the questions, and I'm just going to pop that up on the screen as well while I do so because that's got our contact details for anything else that you anyone thinks of afterwards. So, has anyone spotted any questions that they would like to go for? Because I think some of them as we were coming through, we sort of got to as well. Anyway, let's have a look. And then there was a question about sort of textbooks, and it's actually sort of it's manuals that are provided, but also directed um, reading that you would have throughout the preparation courses. But as Lilia mentioned, there's nothing else that you have to go out to get at all. There's a question about pass rates. So the SRA publish their pass rates each time the results come out for SQE1 and the SQE2 for the different sittings. It varies slightly each time, but it isn't incredibly high. I think the last SQE1 pass rate, Steve, was something like 40 something percent, wasn't it, for the
43,
July? 43 was it? Thank you,
43. It was the
and that
lowest, yeah.
and that's the one, but that's the one that you passed, Lilia.
Yes, exactly. And I was using only the materials that are provided by the COP.
So I think it can be quite worrying in terms of the pass rates that are published, and you know you can understand why when there's such costly exams. Um, I think you don't really know the circumstances of everyone who is passing and failing. Those stats don't really sort of mean anything as they are. And as Steve mentioned, in reality, anyone could book on and take the exams without even studying a preparation course. So I think the thing to focus on is really making sure that you're preparing in the right way and you're feeling ready and prepared to take that exam for when you are booking onto that sit-in. Let's just see what else has come through. The question about booking onto the exam. So it is something that you have to do yourself, but you will be guided on it. So we would once you're on a preparation course and you're leading up to a particular exam period, we'll be making you aware that the bookings are open for that next set of exams. And if you're wanting to and aiming to do so, these are the deadlines and this is how you do it. You don't have to take the next exam. I was just going to say, Steve, you have 14 months continued access to the end of the program. So Steve mentioned earlier about the SQE readiness reviews that you have with your supervisor. If they think and you think, actually, you know, it might be better just to revise for a little bit longer, you can do that and then take the later one. Yes, Steve, what was you going to add as well?
Sorry, Nicola, I was just going to say that in relation to booking the exam, obviously it's an external assessment and is nothing to do with us. But I actually run when it becomes the relevant time and the booking window is about to open, I actually run a course information session that is geared specifically to help you with that process and to try and explain some of the things that you need to know and to put you on notice. And yes, the study materials are available for 14 months after the end of the course. So as Nicola says, that covers an awful lot of sittings of the SQE. So you'll have plenty of continuing access.
Yeah, and in terms of the materials, as Steve mentioned earlier, so you get a hard copy and a digital copy of the manual. The hard copy is provided free of charge. The only additional cost there might be is if you're not based in the UK in terms of the postage of it, because it's for the SQE1 in particular, it's like 3 large ring binders, so it's it's quite a hefty box that you'll be receiving with that in. But a digital copy is also provided. Let's see what else has come through. Question about working full time and being a parent as well, so additional commitments. So, I mean, Lilia has obviously been studying the the 40-week program whilst working. If you to do the LLM, it would be the 20-week SQE preparation course that fits into that. So there is additional. It would be more hours per week that you would be looking to put to it. So first of all, I would say just check in terms of is that something that you could commit to in terms of looking at your potential study time, and if the 20-week one might be too much to fit into the LLM, then alternatively look at the 40-week standalone SQE preparation course. But as I mentioned, even on the LLM, when you're preparing for the SQE, you only take that external exam, that exam through the SRA, when you're ready to do so. So whilst working on the LLM, you would need to pass our internal module assessments to pass the SQE1 preparation module. But you don't need to take the SRA's one if you're not ready to do so at that time. So you would still have access for 14 months. So that's another thing to bear in mind. Lilia, did you have anything else to add to that? I know you.
Yeah, so well, in this regard, it would be very important to limit the time you study, because it's very tempting when you have, like, for example, 4 hours of free time and you think that, oh, I will fit all my study and I will catch up because it's very important not to fall behind. But actually, you ending up almost like wasting this 4 hours. But if you set the specific time, so what works for me, I have the focus mode on my phone, and all my kind of close people, they know that if I'm in this mode, I can text them and say, look, I'm going to study, and they know that they cannot disturb me. I know it's not really kind of relevant probably for the parent, but if you have this opportunity to kind of ask somebody to take care of the child while you're in this process, just set this timer for 2 hours, not more, not less, and allocate all the time, focus time to the study. Yeah, I would say that.
Brilliant, thank you. So a question about the difference between doing the preparation courses and the LLM then. Really, if you study the LLM, you study one module at a time. So you would study the SQE1 preparation module and the SQE2 preparation module. There's also 2 transactional business modules. There's a list of options to choose from, but you would take 2 of those and a legal research project. So you pretty much do one at a time. But you would continue on the program to take all of those modules to complete the LLM. As I mentioned, you don't necessarily have to take the exam straight away through the SRA. You could do that later if you wanted to. But you would just continue on that program, so 1 year full-time or 2 years part-time. If you're looking at the individual preparation courses, I guess the main thing is you've probably got a little bit more flexibility if you take them separately, because there's 3 different speeds. You can go, first of all, I'm going to do SQE1. Okay, my time commitments at the minute means that the 40-week one is the most suitable one. So I'm going to study SQE1 over 40 weeks, study for that, take the exam when you're ready to do so. And then when SQE2 comes round, it might be that your situation, your circumstances have changed, and actually I can put in more hours now than I could, and I might do that over a faster pace, or vice versa, or continue. So you've sort of got that little bit of extra flexibility that way. For all of these questions, by the way, we're more than happy to speak to you. At a later date. I'll send an email through tomorrow. So and happy to speak to you over the phone, or I'll have one-to-one chats with you as well, just to explain this a little bit further. Is the it has, sorry, yeah, go for it, Steve.
Sorry, Nicola, I was just going to say there's a question there. Is the final result calculated per modules? I'm not entirely sure to what that question is referring, whether it's referring to the SQE one assessment or whether it's referring to our own assessment. I suspect the latter. So just to answer that, the insofar as the SQE1 preparation course is concerned, or SLK as we call it, at the end of the course, the month before the SQE1 assessment takes place, we run our own summative assessment, and which you are entitled to take, and it is mandatory if you're on the LLM. And your result for the SLK is calculated only on that summative assessment, not on any previous modules that you may have come across throughout the course. So it's a one assessment result insofar as the SLK summative assessment is concerned.
Brilliant. Thank you, Steve. So I think pretty much the others we've kind of covered in terms of everything else. There's some questions about student finance. You would need to just check your own eligibility through the student finance schemes. Normally, it has to be your first master's study, I believe. If you've already used the finance before, for example, you wouldn't be able to gain that postgraduate loan again, but you would need to just check with them about your own eligibility. And same for exemptions for either SQE1 or SQE2. You would need to just double check that with the SRA. Normally for SQE2, if you're an internationally qualified lawyer already, you may well be able to get an exemption from the SQE2 and just need to do the SQE1. And if anyone is joined this evening as well who has studied the LPC, they might get an exemption from the SQE1 and then just need to do SQE2. So there's a few different scenarios there. And again, happy to have a chat with anyone separately about this as well. Any further questions?
So somebody's asking about start dates for the part-time courses, Nicola.
I'll send through the email tomorrow as well, but let me just see if I can just skip the slide back because this.
I think it's the 9th of February for the 20-week part-time course and the 16th of March for the 40-week course.
Yeah, I've just put the slide back on the screen that I did whiz over. Apologies, but I will send this out in an email tomorrow as well. But these are our next start dates for sort of February and March intakes for the SQE1 preparation course and for the LLM. But you can also access our course calendar as well. There's a QR code for it there if you wanted to, but you'll find it on the website as well, which is the further dates throughout the later in the year as well. Lovely.
Yeah. I just wanted to add quickly about the content of digital and hard copy materials. So
Thanks, Lillian.
they are the same content, but it's very important that digital copy is the most updated one. So it's constantly updated by the college. The college adds all the relevant information which was changed.
Brilliant. Thank you. Lovely. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining this evening, and particularly thank you, Lilia, for giving up your time after a hard day's work already to share about your experiences. As I mentioned, my plan would be to email everyone this evening with, sorry, not this evening, I'll be having my dinner, but tomorrow I'll be sending out an email, hopefully with a copy of the recording and the slides. And then do please feel free to come back with any further questions that we have. We're always happy to help guide people and answer any further questions. All right, so thank you very much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks all. Bye.